The Liberal government is admitting that they are giving the emergency relief benefit to people they know will not need it. And they're making small businesses wait up to another 4 weeks for any kind of federal help. The priorities here are pretty telling. The Canadian Emergency Relief Benefit Program is about a week old, and it's already turning into more of a disaster rather than a disaster relief program. Look at this, from of all places, the Toronto Star. The Star has learned that every person who applies for the CERB, that's the Canadian Emergency Relief Benefit, will automatically be approved whether they qualify or not. The application takes minutes, and those who set up direct deposit will receive funds within a few days. The catch is that if it is later determined the applicant was not eligible, they will have to repay the funds when taxes for 2020 are due next spring. If applicants are eligible, they can keep the payment, but it will be considered taxable income. According to the Office of Federal Minister of Employment, Carla Qualtrough, to get the CERB, you just have to say that you're eligible. The verification will be done later. Come tax time next year, the government would be able to verify all of the eligibility criteria, a spokesperson for the minister said. The problem is there is a lot of confusion about who is eligible and who isn't, creating a scenario where thousands have money unexpectedly clawed back a year from now. The government will also increase GST payments for those who currently qualify. Here's the information from the government website. You will get the extra payment amount automatically if you normally receive the GST HST credit and have filed a 2018 tax return. Payments will be issued on April 9, 2020. If you were previously not entitled to the GST HST credit but have filed your 2018 tax return, you may also get the one-time credit amount based on your family net income. Okay, friends, what this means is that there is going to be a lot of help, immediate help, and there has already been a lot of immediate help for workers, even those who don't need it, because the government isn't bothering to check. Okay, fine. In the meantime, over in the business world, another narrative altogether is unfolding. Look at this from CTV News. Despite being approved by Parliament, it may take up to 4 weeks before the $73 billion wage subsidy program is rolled out. And then there's this from the incredible folks over at Blacklock's Reporter. This article talks about this extreme delay in processing any sort of relief for job creators. So to be clear, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can apply for CERB and then get it. But businesses, well, they can pretty much go broke waiting for help, and the government doesn't seem all that concerned about it. Look at this. Legislators predict another wave of insolvencies May 1st due to ongoing delays in the processing of federal payroll rebates. Cabinet gave various estimates of when the first $73 billion in subsidies will be paid. Sadly, I think 3 to 6 weeks is still too long, said Senator Tan Hai No, Conservative of Ontario. Many businesses are on the verge of bankruptcy or have closed permanently. Business owners are in a very dark place. More than 1 million employees have been laid off. These businesses and employees need help now and cannot afford to wait any longer. Parliament on Saturday passed Bill C-14, an act respecting certain measures in response to COVID-19 to pay up to $10,164 in payroll grants to qualifying employers. Firms must first demonstrate catastrophic revenue losses, at least 30% year over year in April and May, to qualify for the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy that pays a 75% rebate to a maximum of $847 weekly per employee for 12 weeks. Hang on here, so there are plenty of checks and balances and hoops for employers to jump through before they qualify for help. Now, can we just stay on Blacklocks for a second, because they have another really great example of how the Liberal government is doing one thing for workers because the feds say it helps them, while claiming the opposite is true for the people employing those very same workers. Remember just a couple minutes ago when I told you the federal government is giving those who qualify for a GST check an even bigger one to help during the pandemic shutdown? Just look at how the Liberals are treating the employers in this case. Cabinet can't rebate GST payments to small businesses because it is, quote, not their money, says Finance Minister Bill Morneau. Opposition MPs last week proposed a rebate as a quick $30 billion remittance to employers facing bankruptcy. Weird. So it's not their money when it's a business paying GST, but it is their money when it is a Canadian collecting a GST check. It's funny how a GST cut can be a relief for workers, but not for companies, small businesses, and other job creators. This is just so perfectly liberal that they think all taxes belong to them to do with what they wish as opposed to the money belonging to the people who pay it. Finance Minister Bill Morneau also promised relief to the oil industry within hours or days, but that was almost 3 weeks ago, and since then he's done nothing to help an industry being hammered by OPEC's predatory dumping of oil into the market and a near industry-wide COVID-19 related shutdown. Instead, the feds are opting to bail out the perpetually failing mainstream media because when this is all said and done, the Liberals are definitely going to need an entire industry of bought and paid for spin doctors to stop the truth from coming out about just how bigly the government mishandled the coronavirus crisis. And of course, as you know, the Liberals on April 1st, April Fool's Day, gave Canadians, including Canadian businesses, farmers, and truckers, those people who are working right now to keep the supply chains open, an increase in the carbon tax by 50%. You can see all my reporting on that topic and sign our petition calling on the federal government to roll back this inhumane carbon tax hike that they increased in the worst economic crisis in at least 100 years at stopthecarbontax.com. Now, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but if you wanted to make a permanent welfare class of Canadian citizens completely reliant on the government for everything from the roof over their heads to the food in their bellies, this is exactly what you would do. You would let the job creators die a painful, however, fast death while dishing out immediate cash with little oversight to every single person applying for it. As the Blaze's Andrew Wilkow has repeatedly pointed out, history has proven time and time again that when the government hands you something with an outstretched palm, the other hand is almost always a clenched fist. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. No sane government in the entire world would ever consider hiking a tax by 50% in the middle of an economy-wide shutdown. But that is exactly what Justin Trudeau is doing with his carbon tax. To see all the details and to sign our petition calling on the federal government to stop this inhumane attack on Canadian businesses and Canadian families, go to stopthecarbontax.com.